Hey everyone, I just want to do a quick video on the most recent acquisition. It's the Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 380. I just picked this up probably 3 weeks ago or so. I've put about 500 rounds through it. I decided for summer carry, since I'm not a huge frame person, I'm about 5'9", 5'8", about 175 pounds. In the summer in Texas, it's a little difficult for me to really conceal very well. So I figured, I'd like a pocket gun, something that I could just literally put in my pocket and have it concealed and not be able to tell the outline that I'm carrying a handgun. And I saw these 380s, and I'm not a big fan of the 380 round. If you just look online, look at videos, look at ballistics data, the 380 round isn't really the most powerful round. It shouldn't be your absolute go-to carry gun for all the time. I mean, wintertime I'm packing my 340 PD that I either carry with 357 Magnum or 38 Special Plus Ps. But for summertime, I'd rather be armed and comfortable than not be armed at all. So in that regard, 380 will work. I wouldn't want to go anything too far below 380. That's my personal preference. There's arguments for and against that. Some people actually, say 22s, 22 Magnums will work just fine. Personally, I don't really go too much for that, but 380 is about as low as I'll go in a self-protection situation. 380 with hollow points. This will carry 7 rounds, 6 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. So 7 rounds of 380 auto hopefully will get me out of a jam, at least allow me to protect myself and get to cover or get somewhere else and get away from the situation. So I figured, let me give this a shot. This is unloaded. I did a check beforehand. I'm a fan of Smith and Wesson in general. I know they've had some issues over the last few years about safety and copping out on certain functions and features, but I've always liked Smith and Wesson. All my Smith and Wesson handguns, none of them have ever malfunctioned, and they feel quality built. When you look at this, when you compare it to the Ruger, I think it's the LCP. Rugers are great. I have my new Black Hawk if you've seen my videos, so I like Rugers, but Smith & Wesson is just a notch above in my opinion. That's just my opinion. This gun here, it's in 380. It's got a laser right down here at the bottom. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of lasers. I'd rather just look down the sights, but this is a good function, I guess, if you like lasers. They had some issues on their first model run about the lasers not being countersynced into the frame far enough so people would hit these things pretty easily, but with this little concentric circle here, they've kind of dug into the frame a bit to make it a little more flush mounting. And you can hit it from either side if you're left-handed or right-handed. One touch will give you the regular single dot laser. A second touch will pulsate the laser, and I guess that's easier to see. The human eye can see it a lot easier whenever it's in this mode. And then the third one turns it off. Here it's got, and I actually like this, it's got a safety, 1911 style pretty much, safety. It's double action only, and it's literally double action. It's not like a striker fired, like a Glock or a Springfield. Back here you can see the hammer inside the frame. Again, just to be sure, it's unloaded. There's no magazine in it. So whenever you pull the trigger, it's actually operating that hammer. So the double action trigger feel is a bit tough, I have to be honest. But for me, for concealed carry in the pocket, I don't want a light trigger personally. This works great, and I actually like this safety as well. I feel a little bit better, and this is just me, feel a little bit better having one in the chamber with this long double action trigger pull, a shrouded hammer, so I know if I drop it, the hammer is not going to get hit, and it's not going to actually impact the firing pin. But with this safety, I feel just a little bit better, and it's real easy to take off. So if I'm in an area of town where I'm not feeling comfortable or something feels out of the ordinary, I can always put my hand in my pocket, flip off the safety, and just keep my hand on the gun just like this. And if I need it, pull it straight out, and finger goes right to the trigger. and I'm not afraid that, you know, if I accidentally bump the trigger or something, it's going to go off. I mean, this has got to be a 10-pound trigger pull, probably a 7 to 10 pound. I mean, it's not easy. So I feel pretty safe with that. And this one, I think some of the other Ruger models and some of the other smaller pocket models don't have a last round hold open feature. So you fire 6 rounds and all of a sudden you're left like this and a click. This, after the last round, it locks open just like a 1911. Magazine capacity is 6 rounds, and I have snap caps in here, just in case anybody's wondering. So, and this actually feels real good. The magazine locks in really tightly, and it just feels solid whenever you put it in. And that feels solid as well. I mean, this gun is just, it's a solid feeling gun. Most of the weight, all of this is polymer down here, so this is light, but the whole frame here is all steel or aluminum. So, I mean, it's solid, and the balance here is the weight is across the whole slide. There's not, it's not front heavy, it's not back heavy. It feels very well weighted, and it feels solid in my hand. I have smaller hands, so I don't mind putting 2 fingers on the grip and the pinky below. But it absolutely feels solid. It feels like almost point and shoot. The sights are not bad. The sights are higher up. They don't snag. They're pretty well rounded. So it's actually just a really solid feeling gun. I put about 500 rounds through it, and the only thing I've noticed is that after firing, the rounds tend to eject straight up. So every once in a while, as you're shooting, you'll see a couple shells fall right in front of your face, or right back down towards the gun. I don't know if that'll change with more break-in. I think 500 rounds is plenty of break-in, but it's not really a big issue. It's just something I noticed. It doesn't eject far to the right. It kind of ejects up a little bit at an angle. So it has 380 on the barrel, Bodyguard 380, Insight laser. That's the company name, Insight. Smith and Wesson markings. And of course it has to say caution, capable of firing with magazine removed. Smith and Wesson on the slide. So other than that, it's actually a really good gun. The one thing that I did notice when I first got it before breaking it in, the safety was a bit hard to operate, but now, I mean, it's a piece of cake. The slide stop is real easy to use now. I mean, it's just so strong. You really feel safe with it. Takedown's a bit tough. This lever here was a real tough beast when I first got it. When you tried to press down here, I mean, I literally had to put so much force to get that down. And then even now, I doubt I can get this up with my finger. I'm guessing I probably can't. Yeah, what you have to do is you have to get a screwdriver or something, make sure not to scratch everything up, and lift up on this pin. Once the pin comes out, actually, let me see if I can do that for you real quick. The internal mechanisms are obviously really simple. So let me just pull this pin out real quick. There we go. Once you break it in a bit, pulling the pin out, even with a tool, is a piece of cake. So I just pulled up a little bit on this. Pin comes right out, and then slide goes down. Use your thumb, and the last portion's usually a bit tough, but there you can see the hammer. The internals are just like any other semi-auto polymer gun. Spring and assembly, and then the little barrel, 380. So, and everything else in here is quite similar to any other semi-auto Glock or anything you'd find. It's pretty close. So, and the spring it's got a dual spring, it almost looks like. There are 2 springs wrapped around here. The recoil on this is really not bad at all. Back on. And then the pin, actually have to look outside of the camera. Have to get it right, rotate it up, push it in. There you go. So that's really not bad for takedown. So it's actually a really, really nice gun. I've enjoyed it so far. Haven't tuned the laser in yet. Again, I usually don't use the laser, so it's pretty accurate. I may have to float the sights a little bit, and they're dovetailed in, so you can tap them a bit. So I have to put it on paper, so I've been shooting steel with it. put it on paper and make sure it's proper. So that's a look at it. Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 380. I'll put a shooting video up at some point here. Thanks for watching.